to peace.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to peace.
I open up to peace.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to peace.
I open up to peace.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to peace.
I open up to peace.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to light.
I open up to light.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to light.
I open up to light.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to light.
I open up to light.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to light.
I open up to light.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to joy.
I open up to joy.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to joy.
I open up to joy.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to joy.
I open up to joy.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to joy.
I open up to joy.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to silence.
I open up to silence.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to silence.
I open up to silence.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to silence.
I open up to silence.
All is well.
All is well.
I open up to silence.
I open up to silence.
All is well.
All is well.
All is well.
All is well. All is Good morning, everyone. That was some lovely chanting with Donna Michael. I open up, but we're going to have some live music in a little bit because Grace and Nierenberg is here blessing us with this wonderful presence, voice, talent, guitar. So you'll get to hear him in a little bit. It's Sunday, August 13th, and we are still exploring the theme this month of my passions, my purpose within the year of living out loud. And today my topic is the spiritual practice of simple kindness. It's kind of counterintuitive in a way because we all know to be kind. We all know what kindness looks like and feels like, right? But we don't often think about that there's a whole depth to it that we can explore and experience. So it can be something that can continue to expand and become more and more alive in and through us. So we're going to explore that a little bit more today. And we don't have a practitioner assisting today, so you get me. We have a website, cslmorristown.org, for anyone who wants to know what's going on at the center, to read our blog. That's a place where you can make donations, sign up for things, but we also have a weekly email blast, and it's a constant contact email. that you get every week. Those of you who don't get it and you want to sign up for it, let me know, or just sign your name on the little booklet over there if you're here. If you're online, we're glad you're here with us, and you can contact us in many different ways to be on the list. That is the most up-to-date stuff going on at our center, because 2 weeks from yesterday, Michael Malik will be offering a chakra workshop. It's a Saturday morning from 9 to 12:30. So it's really helpful if you sign up for that on Breeze, because if nobody signs up and you're at this door, it might not be happening. So signing up is always a good thing. There's a couple of new things. I even have a flyer up for November. November. But we have BTology with Elaine Silver, and she's doing the Sunday celebration. We have another art journaling experience on the 17th. Elaine comes on the 24th, so September is going to be jam-packed full of really fun things to do, besides being here on a Sunday. The end of September, the 30th, we have the Brookside Wellness Fair. We would love your help. Any way you can help. Help set up, help break down, help greet, help volunteer, 1 hour all day. So let me know if you'd like to help out. We would really welcome that. And there's flyers everywhere for that. Even if you want to be a vendor, or if you want to be a sponsor even, that would be great, because it is a little bit of a fundraiser. So let us do our Namaste practice, which is, Namaste is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me, blesses the divinity in you. So it's already a little bit of a practice of kindness, because one of the things that's important within the practice of kindness is this giving-receiving balance. So you're not just blessing someone, but you're receiving a blessing. So put your hands together and just greet someone and say Namaste. Namaste. And let's do an opening treatment. Our word for affirmative prayer. And if it's comfortable, close your eyes and take your attention from the outer world to the inner world, to your heart of hearts. In this secret, sacred place, there is only love. There is only divine wisdom. There's only divine grace. And this is our holy communion, that place where the conscious human ego self becomes aware of this sacred space within, where we experience our own divinity and how to be nourished and how to nourish and how to live and how to express and how to gain wisdom and joy. And so today we explore this from a place of practicing kindness, knowing that there are always more ways to be kind with each other and ourselves. And so it is a joyful experience, because it's not about there not being enough. There is this idea of there's always more room to experience a deeper sense of kindness. And that in itself, as a spiritual practice, awakens our passions, awakens our purpose, and allows us to feel more balanced and integrated and whole in the world. And so today we're grateful for this teaching, this beautiful spiritual community, each other, and most of all, the gift of kindness. And so it is. So how many of you remember this thing called random acts of kindness? Yeah, you remember. You weren't even born yet, I think. So yes, so I think it was mostly in the 90s, right? What were some of the things that either you practiced or you witnessed somebody practicing with random acts of kindness?
Giving drivers the right of way.
Giving drivers the right of way.
Paying for someone else's toll.
Paying for somebody else's toll behind you. That was my favorite.
Buying someone the coffee behind.
Buying somebody behind you coffee.
Holding the door for people.
Holding the door for people. Yes, so there were so many different ones, right? So when I was exploring this, because I remember this clearly when it became a really big thing, and I did several talks on it. But what I loved about it is that it actually came from a columnist in San Francisco named Ann Herbert, and she first spoke of this thing of practicing random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty. And in 1993, it became more local as a holiday, as an act, as a celebration. And it spread so far and wide that in 1995, it actually became a national holiday. It's February 17th, which is during Valentine's Day week. Isn't that perfect? It became a book, it became a movement, there's a whole website. And I really love this idea where kindness became the norm. And I am pretty sure that none of us need a lecture on kindness, because I'm sure we all know. But I do think that there is room for a greater depth, greater awareness, and greater practice and expansion around kindness. Meaning, maybe there's places or ways to practice random acts of kindness that you hadn't even thought about, right? And so you open up to that. I mean, one of them, for me, a couple of years ago, was tipping the guy or woman at the gas station, which I never even thought about, but Norman always does that. And I'm like, you tip people at the gas station? He says, of course. And now it's something that I just feel so good about, because many times there are people who are actually highly professional from other countries but can't practice here, and so they have a job at a gas station. So being kind there is a wonderful gift. So it comes from this ancient, it's really an ancient spiritual practice if you think about it, because the most ancient wisdom principle is, as I give, so shall I receive. It's a very simple idea that there is a law of cause and effect that is taking place with every breath, every heartbeat, in every moment. And if I become aware of that, then it's much more easy to give, because I know what's going to come back. Maybe not in that moment, not from that person, not in that way, but it's like putting money in your bank account or in your piggy bank, right? And so the idea of giving is receiving is one of the most powerful principles in the Science of Mind teaching. Actually going back to ancient teachings, the ancient beginnings of the early teachings and early religions, and has spread far and wide through all faiths, especially the major ones. And so the idea then is for us to think about this as making a shift, that practicing kindness is not so much about anything but just knowing that it's a spiritual practice of deep recognition, deep respect, that divinity is everywhere present. And so we might practice kindness when we see trash on the ground. We might practice kindness when we catch ourselves judging someone for doing something stupid. We might practice kindness when we're in a rush. We might practice kindness when we're worried about something like being late or getting something in the mail that is from the police or from the IRS. Those are moments where we can really think about the person who took care of all this and takes care of us regardless of what the outcome is going to be, right? Because it changes it. I love this idea of really understanding the law of cause and effect in the giving, receiving, because I think that we've moved culturally and socially more and more into a place of getting rather than giving. We know now that much of the problems of the world, that of consumerism and greed, have gotten us in a pickle around climate change especially, right? And so greed says, I need more, I want more. So most of us have too much stuff. Anybody here have too little stuff? I don't, right? And so that is that energy that's part of the collective consciousness that we might not even be aware of. So I love what Michael Beckwith says when he said that if you notice that something is missing, it's because it's yours to give. If you notice something is missing, it's because it's yours to give. That's a very different mindset, right? And our first reaction might be, hell no! I see this missing, I see that missing. That's a wrong, that's a problem, that's because of him, her, they, them. But instead we get to step back and say, oh, that must be because there's something for me to give. It doesn't have to be tangible. It might just be simple kindness or simple compassion, right? And so that's because those are the spiritual principles that we love, that we believe in, that we practice. And as you know, this teaching, it's not just an entertainment thing where you show up on a Sunday and you walk out feeling good. It's a teaching. It's a way of life. It's a practice. And none of us have arrived. And what if none of us ever fully, completely arrive? Because that's what it means to evolve. It's ongoing. It doesn't have a stop sign or an end. And so, I want to read something that I find the best readings on Facebook. Some of you will. I found this amazing reading that made me cry. It was just beautiful tears. It was so beautiful. It's by Rabbi Tzvi Friedman. I'm not sure who he is. I didn't research that. This is what he says. He says, you're not here to find love, nor to be greeted by happiness at every turn, nor to be showered with kindness, nor to be celebrated by all, to forever remain a child. No, you came here to create love out of war. Your soul willingly left its blissful place beyond all troubles to descend into a stifling frame of bone, blood, and flesh. Why? Remember, we talked a little bit about that last week, right? It says, why? Because only here can inner strength be forged by pain. Can wisdom be nurtured by failure? Can love be the reward of those who choose to give love? Your soul came here to struggle with the bitter things of life and squeeze out of them a syrup of sweet inner joy. And as there is no sweetness as succulent as bittersweet, so there is no river of love that runs as deep as the love forged through the battle of the heart. No strength as powerful as that wrestled from the hands of an enemy through stubborn, defiant resolve. No wisdom as the wisdom gained by stumbling in darkness, standing up again, stumbling and walking again and again. All that is good, all that has meaning, all is up to you alone. Kind of kicked my butt as well, right? It's very demanding. Spiritual life is very demanding, but the rewards are so amazing because it's almost instant. I know for myself when I'm judging someone and I notice my feeling body, there's a lot going on. But if I'm kind and I flip it and I'm patient and I'm compassionate, my whole body is flooded with light. That's true for all of us. And so we practice and we do our best, knowing it will never be perfect. So I love what Mark Nepo says when he talks about kindness as a teacher. Right? We often think of spiritual teachers as people, but there's also acts. There's also things like kindness. So we can think of kindness as one of our spiritual teachers. And we can ask, what would kindness say? What would kindness do? I am so grateful that practicing kindness is something so simple. It's not difficult. We don't have to think about it for 10 minutes. We don't have to treat for it. We don't have to go to a practitioner for it. We don't have to take a class for it, or a workshop, or watch a YouTube. It's already known within us. We simply have to go there and ask. And so I think of all of us as practitioners and ministers. Yeah, you're not all licensed. You don't have to be licensed. You are a practitioner of this teaching. You are a representative of the Science of Mind philosophy, of Center for Spiritual Living. And so it's a beautiful thing when you're out in the world and somebody says, oh, you're that Science of Mind person. Or you're that person that was so kind to me in the grocery store. Or you're that person that invited me to a workshop or a class. Or you're that person that gave me that book by Ernest Holmes that changed my life. So we don't ever want to withhold this idea of kindness, knowing that the path is demanding and the rewards and the gifts and the blessings are our simple practices. And so, how can we make it even more simple? Let's think about that for a moment. How can we make the practice of being kind more simple? Do you have room in your life to be more kind with someone? Anybody? I have at least 2 people. 10, actually. Right? We all have somebody in our lives that we could be more kind with. Right? What else? How can we be more kind? What is one practice that you can add today? Yes?
What I've discovered when I'm treating patients, if I just sit down and talk with them for a minute or two, that's
Just
so
sit.
valuable for them.
Yes. So Bill is a chiropractor, and so just sit down with the patient and talk to them. Some people never get that with a doctor, right? Just sit down, talk to them. What else?
Be kind to myself.
Exactly. That was going to be on my list. To be kind with ourselves. I mean, I think only Fernando has room to be more kind with himself. You're all really good at it. I mean, and me and Fernando. No, being kind with ourselves. Do you notice how you speak to yourself in your head sometimes? That's not kind? Or the things you say or think or feel about yourself, the things that you believe about yourself that are so freaking unkind? We need to be aware of that because they damage us. They damage our spirit, our heart, our very being. They block the energy flow in our bodies. They block the good in our lives. And we all do it. Oh, I'm so stupid. How could I have done that? You know? So it's being more kind with ourselves. What are some other things that you can do to be more kind in the world?
Be more empathetic.
Being more empathetic. Yeah, having a little more compassion. Think of some people that you judge, whether they're politicians or people in your neighborhood or somebody you work for or somebody that works for you. Maybe there's room to be a little more kind. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm out and about town, I'll see somebody who's really infirmed. You know, they may be walking or limping or whatever. And I think to myself, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Yes. So remember, that could be me. And those are times when we can go up to them and say, do you need some help? You know, whenever I used to see people in the grocery store with crying kids, I wanted to go kick the kid and the parent. And I would just give them a look and think, get the hell out of here. Now, I go over there and I say, oh, I'm sorry, you're struggling. Can I do anything? Can I help? It's such a shift. It's such a different thing, right? Just to notice when you're not kind and then be kind with yourself about not being kind instead of doubling it up, right? So we want to practice ways or find ways to be even more kind. And so the quote that I had today in the Constant Contact blast, the picture, it's also from Facebook. It says, have you heard about glimmers? They are the opposite of triggers. A glimmer is a tiny micro movement of happiness, a sign of hope. Once you begin to look for them, they will start to appear everywhere. So just imagine, that's how the law works, that when we practice a deeper, more often way of kindness, we begin to notice how it comes back, how it's given. I'm going to the Parliament of World Religions tonight in Chicago, and I made a reservation at a B&B with Reverend Karen from Princeton. And this morning I got a message that my reservation at the Hyatt Hotel is ready for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I called them and they said, well, you have to pay for one night because you didn't cancel in 72 hours. It's $250. And I'm like, okay. I said, can I please speak to your manager? We spoke, right? Can I speak to somebody that can help me? So I explained to them that I probably made the reservation when I was still having challenges with chemo brain. And they said, oh, of course, not a problem. We cancel your reservation and we will not charge you. So I made a point to tell her, that is so kind of you. I really appreciate it. I hope I get to come and say hello to you when I'm there next week. Lupe was her name. I said, I so appreciate it. It's very kind of you to make an exception. Those kind of things are simple, right? I mean, how many times have you been on the phone with customer service and you wanted to rip the phone out of the wall when you still had it, right? Or you gave them a piece of your mind, right? I've done that. I've had to do a lot of forgiveness work around that because I know now that it's just not okay. So, how does the saying go? You can catch more bees with honey than vinegar. I love that saying. So the simple practice is to look for the glimmers, to look for the kindness, not just in yourself, but to look for it around you, to find ways to judge less and have more empathy and compassion, to notice when you get anxious or afraid, and to let kindness be your teacher in that moment. And to always remember that kindness for self is so important. So I get to be with about 8,000 people next week of about 80 to 100 different traditions, religious, spiritual, all open-minded, very more progressive, right? Of 200 different religions, spiritual practices, etc., and from 80 different nations. And so the first one I did was in Toronto 5 years ago, and it was such an amazing event. So next week I will be here, and Rhonda Dene will be performing, Laurie will be practitioner, and I will share with you all that well, not all because it's going to be so much, some of what I've learned and what I've experienced. But one thing I know for sure, that it's going to be a really amazing week to practice kindness in a bigger way. When you're around a lot of people, and thank goodness they're people of like mind, right? They really respect the divinity and all. It's going to be just so fun to not just fill up on giving that, but also receiving that. And so I invite you to be in that space as well for yourself in your little world. Because I know that the simple practice of kindness clears the passions that we have for life that I talked about last week, and the purpose that we have for life. It tunes us into what is ours to do and ours to be. I want to close with a writing from one of my favorite authors, Bell Hooks. She says, the moment we choose to love, be kind, we begin to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and others. And now we get to have Grayson bless us with some music. Got it?
Alright, so I wrote this one special for the service today, and job.
I see the glimmer in your eyes. I know that it's no disguise. I see you shining so bright, glowing like an LED light. I know it hasn't always been this way, and I trust when I hear you say you're trying your best to be here now and give what comes around. One smile can pass the joy around. One kind word can change someone's world. You just need to look out for the things that make you smile, and everything will be brighter for a while. Oh, how I so look up to you with all that pain that you've been through. You could hold on to all the hurt, but you know that only makes it worse. Each time you step into the room, you know you could change the whole mood of everyone sitting in there. You just pull up a chair and say, one smile can pass the joy around. One kind word can change someone's world. You just need to look out for the things that make you smile, and everything will be brighter for a while. When it seems life is moving too fast, you just gotta be the one to make it last. Be there for others as they are for you, 'cause you never know what somebody's going through. You just need to hold on to the things that make you smile, and everything will be brighter for a while.
Thank you so much. That was so great. So what I would love to do is have you turn to somebody, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, even number. Turn to somebody and very briefly, no stories. If you don't know them, make it up. How you are aware that they are kind. What is a kind act they've done? Something that's kind about them. Just turn to somebody. The way you're kind is sharing your story. That's kind.
I think you must be kind.
Thank you. Eileen, Thank you, Eileen. Oh, it's okay. You're good. All right. So now close your eyes. Settle your body in. Take a breath. And quietly, in your own mind and heart, tell yourself how you are kind. The ways that you are kind. And then thank yourself for being so kind. Yes, you can come back. It's something we can do every day, right? I mean, is it the first time you've done that? For some of you, maybe? Yeah, it's so important. So, our spiritual community is so grateful. I'm so grateful for your presence, your generosity, your service, your willingness to take this teaching to heart and to live it. And I know that you are grateful as well. And one of the ways that you can express this, and there's many ways you can volunteer, just show up, right, take a class. One of the ways that you can express your gratitude, if you're able, is to give a donation to our center. So we're going to pass the basket. Whether you're giving or not, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It's all good. But if you're not giving, just place your hand over the basket and let your blessing, your presence be your gift. I'm an auto giver. I actually use text to give, which I love. It's so much fun to text and put a dollar sign and an amount and then I get, thank you for your donation, which is so fun. So I will bless the basket as well. And then as it goes around, if you need to fill out a check, just keep it moving and it will come back to you. And there's envelopes in here if you need little pens. And let's do the affirmation together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. It returns to me multiplied abundantly. As I share my good, I accept my greater good. So it is. So much for your generosity. So let's do a closing treatment and then we'll have Grayson do another song for us. Closing treatment is our word for affirmative prayer. This is a healing prayer, a healing treatment. So in this very moment, as I speak the word I, mine, me, I speak it from and to the higher self, my divinity, my divine nature. And so that's so for all of us, so we can all hear it that way. In this very moment, I celebrate my glorious connection with the divine essence. Whether I call it God, Buddha, Allah, Spirit, the Christ consciousness, divine love, it is all that and then some, until there is no name. For it is the allness of life, ever governing all of life, all of my life, all of my body, all of my mind, all of my heart. And the more I dwell in this place and take time each day to remember this, the more I see the opportunity to be more kind with myself and with others, to have more compassion for myself and for others. And so right now, I open my mind, my heart, my body, and my soul to the infinite presence of divine love. And I let it flow through me, through my body to experience greater health, through my mind to experience greater clarity, through my heart to experience a deeper love and more kindness, and through my spirit to remind me that everything that's happening in my life is happening for me. All of it is for my evolution. And then I get to share that with the world, which becomes my gift of living my purpose. So today, I let go of whatever is in the way. I give it back to where it came from. And I trust the universal law to demonstrate this word for the highest and best. So gratitude is my new dwelling place for everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time, because it is all spirit in form, and so is. Praise Him. What? Yes.
This is not an original. The first one was. This is a cover of a Daniel Nahman song. Everything is. Bring it on, everything, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against so hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through dreaming, that the life I had is ever coming back. I'm all wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I've survived many times before, broken hearts and slamming doors. I'll be alright, yes I will, once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again. So bring it on. Woo!